Sio Tohitu. My name is Larry Gent, and tonight we're drinking from sacred streams. My spiritual journey began in a little country church in the coalfields. The revival movement was the heartbeat of those hills. We were known as shouting Methodists in those days. Other folks called us Pentecostals. It was the only sacred stream I knew. Decades later, I would learn the Native American connection. Revivals grew out of brush arbor meetings. Often those arbors were built by indigenous people. Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Muskogee, and more, their arbors were built for green corn, stomp, and busk dances. After the ceremonies, the revivalists would move in. But the music brought Native and Anglo people together, and in many cases that was the way Christianity was introduced to tribal people. That mingling of culture helped shape the stream of revivalism in America. Sadly, that cooperative confluence did not last. Assimilation was a cultural steamroller, and the church was in the driver's seat. That spiritual flattening affected the church as well as tribal people. Isaiah dreamed of the day when God's people would embrace plurality. For I will pour water on the thirsty land and streams on the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. They'll spring up like grass in a meadow, like poplar trees by flowing streams. Some will say, I belong to he that is, the Lord. Others will call themselves by the name of he that grabs the heel, Jacob. Still others will write on their hand, I belong to he that is, the Lord's, and will take the name wrestles with God, Israel. Multiple streams, multiple names, led by one Spirit. Like Isaiah, indigenous people began to yearn for that day when all sacred streams could be honored and all the names of the Creator could be embraced. As we began trying to articulate that vision, we found ourselves engaging in theological conversations. You see, anytime you talk about God, that's called theology, God talk. But when you try to explain your view, that's called systematic theology. Systematic theology requires a plan or a strategy to lay it out. So let's look in on a systematic theology class to see how this works. Not too exciting, is it? So let's use a sports metaphor here instead. Sports are also based on plans and strategic thinking. But if you're going to succeed, you need to know what game you're playing. If you want to play chess with someone who insists that football is the only game in town, things will not work out well for you. Since the steamroller of assimilation rolled across Turtle Island, we've been told that there is only one way. The American Christianity Rulebook goes something like this. First, life is uncertain. The only thing that is certain is that you are lost and sinful. Second, a better world is coming. And third, there is only one way to get there. And all the preachers said, my way. Indigenous people had some problems with this rule book. First, it leaves out redemption of this land, this world, this life. It ignores creation as a saving revelation of the Creator's hand. Second, it's salvation based on guilt and shame. Third, it's transactional. Oh, sure, salvation is by grace through faith alone, right? But you still have to do the right prayer at the right time, in the right place, at the right altar, in order to get salvation. But that transaction is always in doubt. Maybe you did pray before, but you didn't give your heart 100%. You better get down here to this altar and pray harder this time and try to get it right. Here's the biggest problem. If you buy into this strategy, you have to ignore any other sacred streams. You're told they're only leading you astray. When we rule out all those other sacred streams, we miss the sacred signs all around us. Here's one small example. For many indigenous people, the dragonfly is a symbol of new life and resurrection. It rises from the mud in the springtime and flies on nearly invisible wings. So dragonflies are inscribed in the rocks of many ancient sites. What does this symbol look like to you? You might say a cross, the symbol of death and resurrection. But American missionaries knew that couldn't be true because we had to get the cross from them, not from our ancestors. Celtic Christianity is a different kind of stream. The early evangelists there discovered that Ireland was full of Bridget's crosses, a pre-Christian symbol. So they made Bridget a saint and carried her cross with them. In Syria, the Eastern Church discovered that this cross, shaped like a tree, was devoted to Baal worship, but they embraced that cross as their own, and Orthodox priests still wear it today. In African Christianity, the most ancient of any of these streams, missionaries found indigenous religion used drums and dance to honor the ancestors and call down spirits to fill those who worshiped. The African church still incorporates drum, dance, and spirit in their worship. And here's the thing. None of those sacred streams focus on guilt or shame. None of them make salvation into something you can lose if you're not careful. They all focus on God's redemption, that Old Testament word. God's redemption is a historical act of God, and you cannot undo it. With that in mind, consider these Cherokee words to Amazing Grace. It's the same tune, but not the same words. God's Son paid for us. Now to heaven he went after paying for us. There is grace here, but the singers are not amazed by it, nor have they ever been lost or wretched or blind. God's grace has come. The price has been paid, and that settles that. That kind of certainty, that kind of assurance comes when you drink from your own sacred streams.